earphones in, Michael. You don't try.
Okay.
You don't. If you put your earphones in, I'm not gonna go out of my way to talk to you. You stop telling me that you don't want to be talked to. I'm sorry if I'm supposed to.
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book. You know what time it is. Listen, if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, share, subscribe, click on that bell button for notification of the uploads. And for those of you returnees, you ain't got the minerals. You ain't got the minerals. That was going off a little bit slightly, but anyway, listen. Boom! We're talking to you guys about Married at First Sight. We're going to dive into Meka and Michael. Let's go. So we got an interesting episode. Meka and Michael. We got quite a bit today, and we're going through. So I think one of the things that was interesting for me watching Meka and Michael was really the beginning. Actually, them in a car, and they were talking, right? They were going on a little trip to a little picnic or whatever. And what was interesting in the car was the lack of conversation that we picked up on. And when they actually reached the location, there was some odd behavior from Michael, which...
Granny Smith are my favorite ones.
Yeah, so I think we first get introduced to Meka and Michael on their trip. And the first thing I noticed was them getting out of the car. Now, if you watch this behavior, you'll see that Michael quickly exits the car. He's in the mood for some reason. And Meka takes her time to get out of the car and then checks her phone. And it's like she's doing things, almost distracting herself before she gets out of the car. All right? This instantly showed me there's a disconnect between the two of them. Right? And then when they get to the actual place and they get into the actual truck, if you see the proximity between the two of them, too much space. Now, I've said this about this when they were, sitting in their house and they were discussing. There's always on opposite sofas. There's always a gap between them. They're not sitting on the edge of each sofa to get close as possible. They try to keep as much distance as possible, right? And then you see them both looking the other way from each other. So there's not even eye contact. In fact, there's no talking at all. Nobody wants to be interactive with nobody. You understand? Now, I know that obviously Meka, has been trying, and I think I said this in the last episode where in the car Michael was giving one-word answers, which was really frustrating. Watching it myself. So, when you see a couple like this, you can see that the intimacy is null and void. The foundational aspects of being together in an emotional sense will actually begin to replicate itself on a physical level. What you can do, though, is fake this intimacy. And that often what we do in relationships where we have sex, which creates an illusion of intimacy, and then it can promote itself to be in the physical proximity between individuals because they're having sex, right? But oftentimes when the emotional aspect is wrong, the physical aspect cannot work. Like if you're disconnected with somebody emotionally, you struggle to connect to them physically. And what I mean by physically means in the sense of when you're emotionally at an impasse, we're opposite each other, right? And we're not working together, then physically, the physical touch things, not the sexual stuff, the physical touch, the proximity between us two also tends to suffer. Because if I don't like you, I don't want to get close to you. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's what we're seeing from these two. If they were having sex, they could potentially break the physical barrier because there's an illusion of closeness, of nakedness, of vulnerability, of openness, of transparency. But because none of that's happening, the truthfulness of the relationship is being shown just through the proximity and the fact that they won't look at each other. One thing obviously as well, when they got to the bushes, Michael was just behaving really mad. I don't know what was going through his head, what he was doing, what he was on, like he was on crack, on smoke, on heat. It was just poor behavior. We go on a trip together and then you're walking far ahead. Yeah? And not only was he walking far ahead, when they were picking apples on the tree, she actually tried to speak to him on 2 or 3 occasions, right? Tried to speak to him. And he wasn't responding.
Those are my favorite too, though. Granny Smith are my favorite ones.
And he literally put the apples, threw them into the box, and all you hear is do. You hear that noise, and then he's not responding to her question. So this is very rude, and this silent treatment that he's doing is also abusive. I've told you guys about this. Like this is why as human beings we've got to start unlearning behaviors. We think this is normal. It's not. It's abusive. A lot of narcissists use this type of behavior to punish. And look, we've all gone through that situation where we're annoyed at somebody, but this has been like, this is not the first occasion. We're just a third, fourth, fifth. Like, we've done this so many times with Michael. It's frustrating. And I mean, to be honest, I'm even surprised Meka stayed this long. You know, this is the black woman trying to hold it all together. You know, but this doesn't need to happen. This is not the guy that you need to hold it down and hold it together with. You know what I mean? He's not showing that integrity, that love. You know, and like I said, the Bible says, listen, that men should love their wives like Christ loved the church. Christ loved us first. So he shouldn't be waiting for this love. He should be going out there to deliver the love. And when he does, the love that he wants, he can then begin to pull it in his direction. But if you're not giving that love, what happens is a lot of women have because of the nature of the world that we live in, a lot of women have settled for very poor remonstrations and demonstration of love from the male side, and they just take an ounce of that little bit of love and then run with it. Listen, you need to see that love from him before you give him more, because at the end of the day, if a man wants you, he wants you. He'll show he wants you. You know the difference between desire. You know the difference when someone wants you to someone else who just tolerates you. You know.
You want to go have some lunch?
Yes, sir.
All right.
And he then obviously walks ahead without really checking on Meka as well. So what was in the next kind of thing that was interesting was the food situation. So they went to obviously have a little secluded lunch, dinner. Now the food was in a box, right? And the both of you are trying to eat lunch or dinner, whatever you're having, yeah? And Michael instantly, we get thrown into the picture, Michael's already picked his bag of lunch already, yeah? Okay, cool. So man's already checking the bag, etc., etc. He's not consulted Meka. You can see that Meka is doing the couple thing, which is to take the bag out, the one that's left, put it onto the mug, onto the little picnic rug, and then set out plates for them so they can enjoy a nice meal, sit down, chew, and look at the sunset or whatever sunshine that's popping, the nature, whatever is going on. Yeah, just making it nice and making it a dualistic experience, right? Because one of the ways to form an intimacy with somebody is to actually have experiences, so shared experiences. So a bit like when people are in the trenches together, they become life-blooded friends or brothers in the army, right? Because their experiences that they have bonded them, right? And if you haven't watched my video called Best Before You Have Sex, I spoke about the chemical releases of a bonding hormone, which is called oxytocin, right? It's released in bonding moments. So this was a chance for Michael to bond with Meka in a way that was going to be through a shared experience, but he decided not to, right? And so he didn't just leave it at that. When obviously she put the food down, he went to check the bag and inspect it and realized that's not the bag that he wants and kept his own bag. And it just looked really rude. In fact, it was rude. And not only did he do that, he then left that. He said, oh, what, chicken? And then he said, oh, turkey. Nah, I'll just keep mine. And then separated himself to the other side of the rug. Like, I don't know what you want. Like, brother, do you really want to be in this thing? No, do you really want to be in this thing? Because the way you're behaving is like a little little child, man. Like, what is causing you to now go to the opposite end of the rug? And he's not ready for marriage. It's as simple as that. Him, Brandon, are not ready for marriage. Zach, they're not ready for marriage. At all, And the behaviors that they're displaying absolutely, are atrocious. So he goes to the opposite side of the rug, keeping a great distance between them. Then does this thing when you are trying to get somebody back, like, when someone hurts you, yeah? Or like your ex, like, okay, this is it, yeah. Like when you break up with your ex, and you want to show them that you're happy and you're boom and you're nice. You start, and they're in the same vicinity as you. So you start smiling, cracking jokes more than you would usually.
Can I see what that one is?
This one's
flaunting about more than you usually do, flirting more than you would do. That's what he did. The equivalent of what he did by, pudding, and he starts eating the pudding. Oh yeah, bruv, what are you doing? Is this your ex that you're trying to get back? You're trying to hurt this person. That's why the silent treatment came. That's why he was doing that. He was trying to hurt the person. He would say, oh no, I wasn't trying to do that. But inevitably, your actions led to you trying to hurt the person. Do you see it? So these unconscious behaviors that are coming out consciously, and coming out and manifesting themselves in a physical are because there are unconscious things that have not been dealt with. There are issues that within him that have not been dealt with. Now, I've always said it, I don't believe Meka is the right kind of girl for him anyway, because she's never going to be a soft landing pad for him at this moment, and he needs a woman that's going to be tendering to that. But again, that doesn't excuse his lying and his behaviour. If that's what he really wanted and really needed, he wouldn't. There would be no need for the lying aspect of it. There's something deep rooted in him that he needs to sort out. That will need it as well. And then obviously, then at the end of that, after he's done his little dance, he had this the audacity to ask, "So what's going on with you? What's on your mind, brother? Are you all right?" Yeah, and so I can't blame Meka for firing at him, because from the moment you got on this trip, you got out of the car, you've got to the picking the fruits from the tree, to walking ahead with the instructor, to now the food situation where you're not sharing your food. None of that has been loving in any aspect at all. Ladies, these type of men you run from. These are the type of guys we do not promote. These are the type of guys you don't want in your life. You understand? He's not ready for marriage. Again. Then obviously at the car, when we were coming back with the car situation, he was gonna, he was doing things again, just like the ex situation. The whistling in the car. Started, and I was just like, okay, bro, are you actually gonna be mature enough to actually address what you're feeling? Because at the moment you're not doing that. That whistling that you're doing it's almost you're almost baiting her to ask you what's wrong. Some people just want the person to go, okay, so what's finally wrong? And it's like, bro, just communicate. That's what we're asking for. You said communication is big when you first started. You said communication is a big thing, and yet I've seen you with a lack of communication, and you've done everything which you promised you wouldn't do on that day. When you promised you ain't shutting down no more, you've learned about yourself, blah 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 blah. Evidently, you haven't. And so, then he apologized and said, obviously, I'm sorry that it didn't go the way, and it's like, sorry it didn't go the way that you wanted, and it's like, bro, again, bro, the yoga didn't go the way you wanted, right? I think there was another scenario before this that didn't go the way you wanted. Like, it seems like it's not going the way you always want it to be, which means you're doing something which is contributing to it not going the way it's supposed to be. Why do you keep apologizing for poor behavior? Change the behavior. And what frustrates me is the fact that the experts needed to really be on hand on this one. This is a tricky situation. Michael is a cold-blooded liar. I'm sorry, I don't care what you say. Liars have the reason why they lie. That's not a problem, but you're a liar. You're a liar.
It's your turn to do something. It's your turn to show up. It's your turn to be a husband.
It's my turn to carry the marriage when I've been doing it for the first 5 weeks.
No, you haven't. You have not ever carried the marriage. You have not.
He's been on job for the first 5 weeks, and he tries to retaliate by saying he's been carrying the marriage for the first 5 weeks. I was like, bro, where have you been carrying? How have you been carrying? Where do you see the points where you've been carrying? And when you see behavior like this, and she said it quite rightly, there's a lack of acknowledgement. And the reason why there's a lack of acknowledgement is because the behavior that he exerted was never checked. That's why I said about the sister was problematic by saying he would say he was exaggerating. No, it is a lie. If I said I was going to give you £100 and then I gave you £70, oh, he's just exaggerating. I'm not exaggerating. I lied. Like, do you have a job or not? No. You don't, I mean, yes. Okay, you don't have a job. No, you don't. Okay, then you've lied. It's not exaggerating. You ain't got a job. You ain't got a job. Yeah? So the truth of the matter is, a lie is a lie. Regardless of whether we're going to say what it is a lie. You understand? And he's been caught in too many of those. So for him to say he's carrying, since Panama, he's been moving mad. Since the beginning of Panama, when you reached down and talked about, and you were trying to have sex, and saying that it wouldn't go far if you didn't have sex, bro, you've been lying since there, bro. So for you to say that you've been carrying, where have you been carrying? Almost like you're trying to flip it on her to make her the baddie, but it's too late. We've seen what we've seen.
I just want to...
Can I go first?
Oh, by all means.
One thing I would say though is obviously at the house, I believe, when Michael started talking on the sofa and was going to explain something, he actually had started speaking, and then Meka said, "Can I go first?" And I was like, Meka, no. He had already started, yeah? And you can see that Michael was a bit distressed by that because his facial expression changed. You see his body language also shift. and move backwards. Like he was going to explain something. Whatever he was going to explain, I don't know at the time. Maybe it would have been different to what he explained after. But she once he started, should just let him have that room. Do you know what I mean? Just let him get it out. Do you know what I mean? But they got speaking. That was fine. They explained how their positions were. And it was interesting because obviously when she wanted to talk about her position, she actually came forward, and Michael actually mirrors his behavior later on when he's actually explaining about how he feels, and he does a lot of gesticulation. He does a lot, so he comes forward, and when he's explaining that she wasn't there for him, you know, we see him gesticulating a lot with his hand, yeah, because at that point he had the audience. And he was able to, he felt like his most confident for him to articulate what he was feeling. So now, the sitting forward, the arm that was pointing out everything, he could do it. Because, you know, he was at his full confidence and he felt like he had an audience that was willing to listen. And obviously, when Meka apologized for not being supporting him through his uncle's death, I'll be honest, it's a tough one. And the reason why I say it's a tough one is because you don't know if he's telling the truth or not, right? Plus, he's created the gap between you two, right? And so it's like, if she hugs him and tries to be caring and everything like that, she's trying to forget everything that's happened before that. And I get it, like, on an ordinary level, you know, that behavior I would be cussing Meka for, saying, why didn't she go and support him and comfort him, etc., etc. But this is not on an ordinary level, because already you've moved mad, Michael. Yeah, already you've lied, and and you've gone off without permission, not saying anything to your partner. So are you sure you're really going through something, or are you using your uncle's death as a way to weaponize it to make her feel a certain way towards you? Because we could do that. That's manipulation. People do it all the time, using a natural event that's truly occurred and trying to say it affected me more than it actually did. And I can tell you that for sure because I've done it before. Maybe not someone dying, but I've done it before. You know, when I was with a certain girl, I remember we had broken up a little bit, and there was a traumatic event that happened. I was coming back. I was kind of broken up. Anyway, I was coming back from a club. And a guy had taken a knife to his girlfriend. I got involved, and then the guy was like passed out onto the ground of his house. I got involved, stopped it, and then he went to his house, which was down the road. Then, you know, as I was leaving, I heard shouting, dogs going, rat, 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 rat. So I went to his house and I saw that he's passed out in it because he was drinking. He's passed out. I said, alright, cool, whatever. He's calmed himself down. I used that event to say to the ex-girlfriend, oh, do you know what? It's mad because I went through the situation. I explained the whole situation. What did she do? She came all the way down, came check on me, came and give me a hug, and then I told her I miss her, I still love her, bum 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 bum. I got her. Snap. That's all I needed. Right? Manipulation. It is cold-blooded manipulation. Now, if you've been lying before, because anyway, I'm not a liar, so that when I told the story, she knew I wasn't lying. If you're a liar before, your reliability. Woo! Did you catch that? Oh, if you're a liar before, the L-I-E, you're unreliable. Woo! Catch that, baby. Somebody give me my tithes and my offerings. Listen, you're unreliable now. Your source of information is now unreliable, and we cannot rest assured because you've told lies in the past. So I'm thinking that Meka said she's thinking, can I support him in this because I don't know if he's telling the truth or not. You know what I mean? Like, you might say to yourself, oh, but why would he lie about that? People lie about everything, baby. If they can get what they want out of it, they'll lie about anything. Meka did give her an apology in regards to not supporting him, and I thought to myself, when I heard the apology, I wouldn't have been convinced. I'm sorry, Meka. The apology was shambolic. Look, an apology, yeah, it's not just the words you say, because anybody can write a sexy apology. What is important is the energy, the authenticity, the realism. And I didn't feel that from Meka. It's not me trying to barge Meka. I'm saying I can understand if her mindset wasn't really there. She probably just apologized because, you know what, get it over and done with, let him live, let him stop cussing, whatever. But I didn't feel that apology from her, just saying the energy. And I don't think he did either, because he made a certain face where he started smiling a little bit as she was apologizing.
I definitely could have handled it better. I could have been more sensitive to your situation. I could have had more compassion, and that is 100% on me. So I apologize. I don't think the apology was truly 100% honest from her. And so, I mean, that's because of the way that he kind of received it and he smiled a little bit. I think he knew
that wasn't a genuine apology, but he took it, and I fair play to him. He took it. And then obviously Michael went to his sister, and I think this is where it kind of annoyed me because, again, it's like Michael went to his sister, explained the situation, and you know she then obviously then did check him a little bit by saying, listen, look, if you're not honest about certain things, you can't expect her to be vulnerable, etc., etc. So I rate that she did correct that behavior. But he himself said he omitted information, not that he lied. And it's like, bro, are you sure you omitted information or you actually genuinely lied? Cause
There were situations where I didn't feel comfortable having conversations with her about different subjects.
Okay.
So when conversations came up that I didn't feel comfortable about, I either avoided or omitted something or omitted details, and I felt very strongly about that.
as far as I'm concerned, we look like you actually lied. So I don't know. I think to myself, like, there's no accountability even from family per se into like just checking up and saying, listen, what you're doing is absolutely wrong. Fix up. You know what I'm saying? We need that from him. And I feel like his sister loved him too much that she overbeared and there was no discipline. Because it's like, bro, this behavior is started from youth. It doesn't start from when you're older. It starts from when you're young. So the fact that the fact that obviously even then that conversation, there was no chastisement that was strong. Let me know that he's getting away with murder since a kid. Do you know what I mean? But it's not easy being her role she played. So I appreciate that.
And
I put in my 2 weeks notice. Simply put, it's not working. We had a few meetings back and forth, and there was a discussion about how this position was going to.
And then obviously now Michael's job, which he had, again, suddenly the boy has quit his job again. So, and she said it, the third job since she's known him in 8 weeks. Third. Blood, that's not normal. Third, that's not normal. That's not normal. Plus, you were even saying about the contracts, which was not, was a bit dodgy. Like, this is making for a very bad thing. Originally, when you said about you going to a job, there was hickey hacker then. And now there was hickey hacker the last episode, and I was hickey hacker now about your job. Like, when would there be consistency in your job? When would there be a normality to your job? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, people go through changes, but the way you're going through it and then lying about it too doesn't help. You know what I mean? So I think to myself that with Meka and Michael, I really just pray that Meka releases this. Like, she doesn't accept it because she has to move forward. We know the divorce, but you know, the fact that she's even staying in this long is a miracle. Because some of the things that he's done is just outlandish and outrageous. And just watching that behavior, you just think to yourself, this is not what is becoming or loving of a husband. As much as he apologizes and makes statements of promises, like, yeah, it's in his character. You know, until he gets past that, I don't think he's going to change. And I think Meka's going to suffer if she keeps on staying in this. So, glad that obviously in a few days' time, she's going to be out there. Because obviously they have to make a choice. But, yeah. So, guys, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Click on that bell button for notification of the uploads. And for those who are returnees, you ain't got the minerals. You ain't got the minerals. Yeah.